Nimesikia leo Jaziel. I'm like, dude.
Yeah,
man.
He said I'm Jaziel. I was like, ooh, Jaziel is fancy. Karibu sana Pasi. Yes. And I mean, we had a chat before we came back on air. And this topic has been heavy on most Kenyans. I don't think it's just me and Kroba. We represent a majority of people who don't have the privilege of being on air.
True.
So, I mean, help us decipher what is going on. But let's start at the very top. You tell us about yourself and that you deal with men, right?
Yes.
Yes, go on.
My name is Jaziel Njau. I run an organization called Real Man Talk, where we create a place for men to belong. In my pursuit of reaching out to the men, I met another man. His name is Peter Monga. He's the founder of SOMI, Save Our Men Initiative.
Wow.
Through that, we partnered, and the synergy, we come up with Mandate Initiative. Mandate Initiative is towards the boy child. We have Real Man Talk meetings, SOMI meetings, but we are working to bring in together the men. And we're just giving men a place where they can hear, talk, share, bond, and at the end of the day, at least they come in touch with themselves and realizing who they are before the eyes of God. So our talk is more philosophical, psychological, and at the end theological, because we present God as the solution.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've been watching the news, this last 1 week. Amaje Kroba?
Yes.
Yes, we've been watching the news. There's a lot of buzz about homosexuality. So let's start at the top. What is homosexuality? And what is your view?
I think Kenya is at a moral crisis crossroad. All right? It's how we move from this point on that will let us know how do we get to the other side. We have to go through something so that we can birth forth something new. It's the law of nature. Something has to die for something new to be born. And so when I say we are the moral crisis crossroad, the word crisis in the Chinese has dual meaning. It has danger and opportunity. If you look at it, from the
say
English,
that again.
The word crisis in the Chinese has dual meaning, danger and opportunity. But if you look at it from the linguistic perspective, it just presents danger. So the crisis that we are at, it's a danger and opportunity. Danger on the basis that if we freak out, then we become weak in addressing the moral fibers of society. Opportunity in the essence that if we address it, we'll be able to transition as a nation to the next dispensation that we have. So it depends on how you view it. It's the wheat and the weed. It's time for harvest. The weed has to be cut first, then we get into the wheat perspective. So now when you talk about homosexuality, then I would also bring down the aspect of heterosexuality, and also say heterosexuality is where we have man and woman, right? Homosexuality now is the exchange of opposites, where it's man to man, woman to woman. And homosexuality is something that we should address it with the uttermost intensity that it needs to be addressed with. And also we should have a concern to what's happening in the society. Now, if you're to address it, we would say that most people are afraid to address it because some don't even understand what it is. And so if you're going to have this conversation, we'll also look at it from a theological perspective. When DJ Kroba talked about men and women being made in the image of God, that word image in the Hebrew means penim, which means in the likeness of God. We don't take it literal, because if all of us are made in the image, then I think God would be a monster. You know, anaka Kenya, Kroba, anaka Nzao, anaka Eric. But the aspect of penim is the likeness. So when the fall of man came, and the fall of man came with choices, all right? He chose, she chose, he chose, and then came about the fall of man. We now moved from the likeness of God, which was instituted by God, that we can walk a closer walk with him. So the decadence has been shifting and growing towards our own self-destruction. So what we're addressing is getting back to where it was intentionally made to be. We make choices, but choices make us. At the end of the day, we are a product of our choices. So homosexuality then becomes a process You don't just wake up. You know, as we continue, we'll address it because now the question is, are you born gay?
Yeah, they say you're born gay.
Yes.
Is that true? Is it possible?
Yeah, exactly.
Let me be the devil's advocate today. Let me, I'm straight and I'm a believer, but let me define I'm on their side. Is it possible that they're born gay?
You know, now the argument that comes with homosexuals being born gay, they use the context of being left-handed as a condition. Back then the left-handed was termed as it was wicked in terms like you had a spell or something. So they would actually get you to a place where they would destroy you, kill you and stuff. So now they said left-handedness became a condition. Now being born gay, research now is trying to prove how you're born gay as a condition and not a matter of choice. Because philosophically then they're bringing it being a condition, but theologically we are bringing it being as a choice that you choose. Because when God created, he created male and female. And even you read Genesis 2, it says that a man shall live and cleave to the woman. So it's not a society of Adam and Steve. It's a society of Adam and Eve. So when you bring the philosophical argument of it becoming a question of condition, they go now to the brain. Men now, we use the right side of the brain, women use both sides of the brain. And they're saying that most homosexual men have a higher percentage in the right hemisphere, in that they still have the left hemisphere. So this is why they have gayish tendencies, which you have women mannerisms in the way they walk and they talk. So now they're getting now to try to bring it from an evolutionary perspective, that it is a condition and not a choice. And they say it goes way back to the womb when the hormones were released, and now they focus it on the brain aspect called the hypothalamus, where it brings the gender differences. What makes you male and female lies with the hypothalamus. So they're trying to say that in that the man aspect has more and the woman aspect has more of the male, because now we have in the women, the lesbians, we have the one who can be called the male in the relationship. Right? So we are getting now trying to make it a condition. Go on. So we're trying to make it a condition.
But it's really a choice.
But it's really a choice, because then Romans chapter 1 says that God gave them over to their choices. Okay? Their degrading passions. In fact, the best terminology to use is their degrading passions. They moved from natural to unnatural. So when now we're in this crisis and everyone is trying to say how I was born gay.
So
and
what you're basically saying is it's a lie.
No, it's a myth. It's a diabolical myth.
It's a lie.
Yeah.
So the enemy sows those seeds in your head when you're young and you grow up thinking, by the way, maybe I'm just gay. So it cannot be biologically proven. It can. The other thing that which would be of shock to realize, one preacher noted, is that when the child is in the womb and when somebody was looking forward to having a baby girl, right, and they got a baby boy, the frustration goes right from the womb. Okay? And the boy comes out thinking he's a girl because the psychology of the mother wanted a girl, but now he's a boy. So now you find that everything is formed in the fetus, and that's why Jeremiah chapter 1 says, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. So everything is in the formation. So what happens if you're looking for God to bless you with a child, and then you begin to say, you particularly in the times where there was no scanning, scanning helps us to know it's a boy or a girl. 9 months it's a boy, it's a girl. So they're trying to say that it's prudent for us to use the urbanization in terms of the technology aspect so that you can know. But if that's the case, this preacher said that you have to go back and unwire what you spoke and say that this boy will be a girl. And now, so now when the boy comes forth, he has tendencies which were coming from the womb, because remember, as the baby feeds in the womb, she's feeding from the mom. Yes. So it's during that pregnancy period, anyone watching, the pregnancy state, the gestation state is something that should be handled very carefully. Even from a Christian perspective. Hold that thought. I mean, give us time to digest that.
Yes.
Well, the pregnant moms watching the show, be careful what you speak over your child.
Right. Wow.
Right from the get-go.
Very mind-opening right now. And feedback on the topic today we're talking about is homosexuality. No, homosexuality, the lie. All right, that is the topic for today. And I'm checking out feedback. Eric Kogi is saying, oh my, homosexuality is evil in the society, which not solved by all of us will be the next big tragedy. Then there is a guy saying they are watching from wherever. Then there is Lydia Nasema anataka Gold by Britney Cole. That's a good jam. I'll look into that matter. Then Edward Marty says God love is for all, but human love is conditional. That's very interesting. Percy will be handling that much. Colby says human strength to be wary in things they are not accustomed to. Apparently, religion has been a conventional way of looking at the world, and it's inherent, and the world is dynamic. Technology is changing old ways of doing things, of what we love. Finally, let's appreciate LBTQs. LBTGs,
yeah.
They don't bite, right? I thought so. That is Colby. Let's find out, all right, on how to handle LBGTGs.
Lesbians,
gays,
yes, that's a fraternity.
Yes, that's a fraternity.
Percy, so answer that guy. How should we relate with homosexuals as a society?
First, there's something that happens when you begin to enter into that phase. Religion then now says it's us versus them. Okay? It's until them comes from us that we change.
Come again.
Religion now puts it that homosexuals, and now we want to attack them. And this is where the statement comes, love the sinner and hate the sin. Right? So now we want to say they are bad. They are the ones, all right? And then until it comes from one of our own, whether your brother, your sister, now you change, because now them is coming from us, right? So how to handle them is the unconditional love of God. We hate the act, but we love the sinner. And what that simply means, we cannot condone the act to the point right now it's being the one to legitimize it in the institutions, giving the children a choice that this is a lifestyle. Now that is where, as Protestants, we ought to protest and say, hey, you made the choice, why don't impose it on those ones who are coming? We have no problem. By the first time I encountered the society here in Kenya, I was a TV presenter here, and they called, and since 2009, I know the society is in Kenya, and some are wanting to come out, but secretly. And you see, we put the border between you. And it came from the Bishop of North Africa, who said, love the sinner and hate the sin. Mahatma Gandhi took it and said, hate the sin, love the sinner. So now that aspect of that balance is what human love, like she said, is conditional. We don't know how to bridge in the two. But when it is one of your own, you will have to love.
I'll be honest with you. Personally, I know someone who's, in fact, any drag queen. Sasa yao ni extreme, and I'm sure when we are doing this topic, we have people in our lives that are there. In case for the viewer who's thinking that we are pointing fingers at them, we are here because Milky come to interact now, Charlie.
Let me show you. Let me show you that aspect. When we started the boy child, everyone started saying, you know what, you need to go to Central. That's where the boy child have an issue. As in, everyone knows boy child equals Central. Okay, so we went to the Central and we met the elders. Central Province. Central Province. We met the elders of Central, and here is a group of Mungiki men who are known to kill, particularly even their own. All right, and they found out, the research proved that Mungiki kill because they lack a place to belong. So Mungiki created a place for them to belong, and then the wrong values were instituted and their beliefs changed. Now the elders are realizing it is wrong, so the other day, 2 years ago, what they did, they called all the Mungiki guys, and then they called their parents, and then they said, you know, what's the beef, man? You guys are killing one of our own, and Mishuki wants to kill you, but we want to tell you we love you. What we hate is what you're doing. When that love came, the Mungiki guys started crying, going back to their parents, weeping, and that thing began going down. The love that we need to show is to say, hey, we don't really get the act, but we'll get you. We want you to know that there's what we call the letter of the law and the spirit of the letter. The letter of the law says, you know, homosexuality is bad, it's sin, it should be, there's a death penalty to it, but the spirit of the letter says there is grace.
Yes.
There is grace that you can come back. That's why 1 Corinthians chapter 6 says that you now who are fornicators, adulterers, all these guys, but now you've been washed and now you're made the new. So now we are trying to give the aspect of the grace of God, but what we don't want is that the choices that you make to be imposed upon others and say it's a way of lifestyle. That's where we are having a beef.
Problem. I agree with you. I think it's important for us to clarify again, this is not the view of Standard Group and KTN. No, this is Tukuza people.
We're just handling a topic that has been relevant.
This is the Christian angle we're taking with this. We're not speaking on behalf of KTN and Standard Group, but as Tukuza, we are on God's side. You know what? We're just going to make it plain. We are siding with God. We do not hate homosexuality. I know it's true because the Bible also says that it's a detestable act. It doesn't say the people are detestable.
Yeah, it's the act.
It's the act. Yeah, that's really. And then answer this for me. There's so much pressure from the West.
Yes.
You know, the pressure is crazy. The other day, I think last year, when Obama made the African tour, when he got to Senegal, he urged African presidents to give room to homosexuals and making it a human rights issue. What do you think that is coming? What is it and where is it coming from? And why are they leaving us alone?
First and foremost, I want to appreciate the missionaries for the work they did in bringing salvation, all right? But also I want to address and say that before the missionaries came, we were living in our cultures, which we had moral values which were incumbent to us living positive in society, all right? So when our cultures met Christianity, it's like asking me, because I'm Jao, are you a Kikuyu Christian or a Christian Kikuyu, all right? Are you a Kikuyu Christian or a Christian Kikuyu? When I was born, I was formed in the frame between my heritage of a Kikuyu, and there were traditions which were done. Now, there are pros and cons, I agree. There are negatives of the society, but there are also positives that brought us. So when Christianity came, it added the principles of living and everything. Now, we came from a colonization, all right? And this is what I'm saying, that the issue of homosexuality coming from the West and everything is something we term it, I can call it cultural colonization. In fact, now you want us to get the root out of where we came from and embrace this thing which is not incumbent with our society. And so in that context, what is happening, the countries, the African countries, I'm a Pan-Africanism. I believe in Africa coming together. The countries which do not agree with the West, aid is being cut off. I mean, honestly, if your agenda is honestly, why do you need to cut off the aid? Okay, so now it brings an issue of the cultural colonization, as in we got our freedom from our bodies, our land freedom, but now it's like a decolonization of the soul, because this is where the decisions are made. One of my mentors, the late President Chiluba, told me that there are three things about a nation. There's the body of a nation, the soul of a nation, and the spirit of a nation. The body of a nation is the people. The soul of a nation is the government and the decisions that are made. The spirit of the nation is the church. All right? Now, when you get saved, it is your spirit man that becomes rejuvenated and awakened. But there's the continual salvation of your soul. Because just because you said yesterday to Jesus Christ does not mean that you not now deal with the issues of yesterday. It's a continual. That's why you say having a walk with God will help you overcome your soul, and towards a salvation of the body. When Christ comes, we shall ascend. So the same thing happens on the national platform. The church needs to spearhead and say, hey, we need to retain our cultural values, and in the same time saying we do not accept what is being imposed upon us. Good example. Why are people moving to the Anglican way? Let me use the Anglican. The Anglican, although they accepted the Christian, the message of Christianity, they never shed off from cultural values. And that's why, even when they wanted to ordain the England gay bishop, the Anglican Church of Kenya said no. All right? And now the England bishops are coming to Kenya to be ordained by the Kenyan bishops. I mean, let's face it, T.D. Jakes, Juanita Bynum, all these guys, they tell you there's something about the God of Kenya.
Africa,
all right? And they say because there's a glory that we attribute to. So if we are saying that we want to now leave all our cultures, sorry to say this, but I was glad when I saw the news the other day in Luo, in Nyanza, where the boys are being taught how to talk in the Luo up to about 9, 10, so that when they go wherever they go, they'll never forget where they came from. We can't just be existing in the air. We have to have roots.
Yeah.
And I'll also borrow from the Luo. They say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go farther, go with others. So the aspect of cultural, we embrace Kenya. Kenya is precious because of our culture. And so even if we are embracing Christianity, the West now is the imposing of cultural colonization, whereby if you don't do what we do, we cut the aid.
Yeah.
So he who plays the music pays the piper. So that's why there's a clash. And right now Kenyans are realizing, okay, fine, it's the act we hate, but hey, don't impose it on our institution. Because I was shocked the other day hearing a bishop say on radio that now there are plans to make it, you know, a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, let me shock you. Right now, there's a pedophile movement that is being birthed, that they are realizing that the kids are benefiting from being pedophile. So if we say that there's a gay rights movement, so there's going to become what? Because it's a trend that is going down, the moral decadence. So there's going to be what? A robber movement. It's right for us to say everything will be accepted. That's why there's an African proverb that says, don't remove the fence because you don't know why it was put up. So all these issues have been crossing over the fence, but the fence was still there. Now you want to tell us, remove the fence. I mean, where are we going as a society? This is why I'm saying that this cultural colonization, this is where God comes in. We need to say, okay, God, help us to overcome this, because this fence needs to be retained. We understand choices have to be made, but it cannot be institutionalized.
Do what you want to do, but don't impose it on the culture of the society. Don't impose it on the schools.
Ken Maria alimba fundamentals. You know, I mean, sasa
so true,
tutoke fundamentals tuanze. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying.
I hear you. I mean, I agree. You have never seen a bull on another bull. I'm a jogo, you are jogo ingine. You know,
let me tell you, it's medically proven. Remove scripture now.
Yes, naturally.
Medically, naturally. Yeah. It's unscriptural. And it's proven that even the way a man and a woman were made. Yeah. Okay. There's a gay guy, Robert, who wrote that gayism in the 50s was not a question of anal sex. It was a question of it was a question of moral. It wasn't a question of anal sex. It was masturbation and the wax. Now it has grown. It's going down to anal sex, right? Now, looking at anal vis-a-vis genital, you find that a woman has the ability, the network muscles, she's wired, she has the lubrication. When you do anal sex, that is meant for exit. It doesn't have the retainability for the friction. So medically, HIV is being promulgated through anal. So what was meant for exit, let it remain for exit. If you use exit for entrance, now I think it's putting the cart before the horse. And that's a wrong order, because at the end of the day, where are we going? Sex was meant for procreation and stuff. So that's why I'm saying, hey, this is issue that we need to address it and tell the homosexual, we're not against you. It's the act. We love you, but hey, we're preaching grace to you, because God can change you. We have seen it happen. So, but don't institutionalize it.
Wow. Okay. I think we want to take a breather after that, right?
Me personally, I like the fact that you've showed the word of God says, do not be found in depth of love. That isipatikane kuna watu fulani atupendi. And we're here to tell you that if you are a homosexual, we love you. We don't hate you. It is the act that we have a problem with. Nani feel? No pun intended whatsoever at all. And that is what we're here to tell you today. God loves you. Moso wachana tana sisi. Unani feel? Ours fluctuates, goes up, goes down. But God's love is constant. And that's the person to run to.